Alright guys, welcome back to another tech channel video. If you guys are fellow flight testers, you may not have known, but this is actually not our main channel. This is our Flite Test tech channel. So thank you for stopping by, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do so. Today, we have a little bit different flavor, and that is this guy. This is the Insta360 1X from our friends over at Insta360. Now, a lot of you probably know that we've been experimenting with this camera for the past couple weeks, and I have some thoughts about it. This is my first 360 camera experience, and it's been quite the experience to say the least. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with what a 360 camera is, it basically has a lens on the front, lens on the back. Each one of those lenses is capturing at a field of view of 200 degrees. So it's getting everything in front of it and even a little bit of stuff to the side in the background. And then what it does is it takes both of those images, the front and the back, and it stitches them together, creating a 360 degree image or video. It's pretty spectacular when you see it for the first time, and also just like how effortlessly it stitches things together without even really being able to notice it. So today we're gonna go over this camera specifically, some of the specs, some of my first experiences with 360 video in general, and then specifically how good is a 360 camera for what we love, the RC flying hobby. So without further ado, we'll get straight into the price of this guy. Comes in at $399. So it's right in that action sports camera price range, which is honestly pretty good because you're getting two cameras for one. As you can see, there's a lens on the front and a lens on the back. This captures video at 5.7K. Now keep in mind, because that sounds like a super high resolution, but keep in mind that is the resolution of the 360 degree image. It has to be pretty big. When you crop in on a section of that video, you're gonna be able to zoom in pretty good and still keeping at like 1080p or even higher resolutions. When you zoom in too far, you'll notice that you're gonna start to lose resolution. Now this does have slow motion capabilities, but just like a lot of other cameras, as you increase the frame rate, the resolution has to be lowered to compensate that, just so the camera can process all that information. So it does 5.7K resolution at 30 frames per second. You can bump it down to 4K resolution and it will actually do 50 frames per second. And then you can bring it down to a 3K resolution and it will do all the way up to 100 frames per second. And the 100 frames per second stuff is really, really cool. I've had a lot of fun with that, and it gives you more, it allows you to play with time as an element in your edit and post-production, so you can do very dramatic effects with slowing or increasing the speed of the video. Now, for those of you guys that watched our Flying 360 wing video, if you haven't seen that, we'll link to it below. The camera stitches the image together, and like I said earlier, it has a 200 degree field of view on each of these cameras. There's a little bit of dead space that is lost, and it's actually a very cool thing because it allows, like for example, the selfie stick. When you hold the selfie stick out, you don't actually see the selfie stick. So it's really, really unique point of view, and it's a great way of capturing the world around you and yourself, because it doesn't look like you're holding a camera. You can see yourself from a third person perspective, which is something that not other cameras are able to do. Beyond that, what we were able to do with our 360 wing that I built is we were able to build a flying airplane that actually was invisible from the camera's perspective. So we almost had a true 360 degree experience while it's actually on an airframe flying through the sky. But the biggest thing that the average user will benefit from is stuff like this selfie stick, which like I said is pretty much a must with this. Like it's probably the #1 recommended accessory that I would recommend with a 360 cam. It allows you to capture yourself, the world around you, other people with ease compared to holding it. When you just hold the camera by itself, you're oftentimes left with a weird, like deformed hand in your image. So when you have it on the selfie stick and you get it away from your hand, it just looks like you're standing by yourself, which is really, really cool. The other thing that I didn't mention about this camera is the image stabilization. It has what's called flow state image stabilization. It's working off of a 6-axis gyro stabilization system, and it is pretty remarkable. I've experienced quite a few different image stabilizations. This one is one of my favorites. So not only when you're getting that aerial footage of the watermelon drop or whatever it may be, it's also stabilizing the horizon almost perfectly to the point where it almost looks surreal at times, because it just doesn't seem possible how you could possibly get an image that steady. Some other cool accessories is they do have multiple underwater housings for this camera, so if you want to go down into the depths, you can do that. They also have an accessory called the Drifter, which is really cool, and it's actually what inspired me to make the flying wing with the unobstructed view, is because they have this little kind of like football case enclosure that you can put the camera in, and not only does it protect it, it is designed aerodynamically so you can throw it through some points of action while you're recording in slow-mo, and it gives you some really cool opportunities to capture very dynamic shots in slow-mo without damaging your camera, because it actually protects the camera itself as well as the lenses, which is pretty awesome and very innovative. So hats off to you, Insta360. Another interesting accessory is their bullet time accessory, and it's basically an attachment to the original Selfie Stick, and it basically gives you a handle with a bearing on it, and it allows you to twist this thing around your head, spin it like a helicopter, and get this amazing bullet time footage is what they call it. It's actually pointing the camera at you the whole time, but it captures it in slow-mo, and it gives you this really unique perspective of yourself as you're running through. Now, be careful when you do this, because you don't want to hit any bystanders, and also you'll probably get some looks if you're running through the park spinning this thing around your head, but the images that it does get is pretty cool, and again, very innovative. So hats off to you over at Insta360. I just like weird, unique capabilities like that. Beyond slow-mo, it also has time-lapse features, as you guys may have seen in the video. And the cool thing about the time-lapses is you can edit in the 360 space in post. So you can do different pans. You can even export it as a VR file. So beyond the Selfie Stick, the other accessories that I would recommend is extra battery and the charging dock. The battery life is actually pretty darn good. There wasn't really a time where I needed more than one battery. I always just like getting an extra battery and an external battery charger. Beyond that, they have a whole lineup of different accessories that could suit your needs, whether you need a helmet mount or whether you need an underwater housing. Depending on what kind of capturing you're looking to do or what kind of hobbies you have, they have accessories to meet your needs, which is pretty cool. The most common understanding of 360 video or 360 pictures is what you might see like on your Facebook timeline, or like in VR, where you can actually hold your iPad or have VR goggles on and you can look around the 360 picture or the 360 video. So it's like you're immersed in the experience. While that is very cool, it's personally not my favorite way to utilize a 360 camera. The way that I use this and the way that I edit it with our 360 wing video that I did is to capture the video in 360, but then edit it in post into one of our normal flight test videos and use it more of just like an action cam. Now, the big difference is compared to an action cam, which is a fixed frame, this is a 360-degree frame. So I'm capturing everything that these lenses can see in the space, and then I get to choose what I want to show to the viewer in post-production. It gives me complete control. Now, that being said, it does involve a little bit more of post-production efforts to get the 360 footage the way that you want it to look. But in my opinion, for things like our watermelon drop video, it is worth it because you have the security of knowing that you're capturing everything in the moment. You don't have to worry about missing the shot because your action camera was pointed a little bit too far to the left and the thing that happened was to the right. Now, that being said, the post-production, I primarily use the Insta360 software, the Insta360 Studio, both on my phone and on the desktop on my PC. And I have to say, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty basic and pretty simple, and me personally, I like it. So what I did in the videos that we used it, both in the 360 wing and the watermelon video, is I took the 360 footage and afterwards I went through and I keyframed the entire video, basically controlling the camera's movement. You get to choose what aspect ratio, whether you want it to be 16:9, or if you're posting on Instagram, you can do a 1:1 ratio. I obviously did 16:9 for our flight test video, and then you go through and you keyframe and you can zoom in and out of different portions of the 360 video. It gives it a nice fluid movement as you're looking around the 360 video, and you get to pick what the camera is showing the entire time of the video. In terms of using this specifically for the hobbyist, I actually would highly recommend it, specifically for people who are using fixed wing. And I know a lot of professional drone pilots who do utilize 360 cameras. Specifically in regards to our favorite fixed wing airplanes, this is a must. The 360 footage is cool, the image quality is good, but the most important thing that I really like about this is the image stabilization. When you put this on like the cockpit cockpit perspective, if you just like put this in the pilot seat of your RC plane, it literally gives you the pilot's perspective, and you can go through afterwards and you can edit the video and have the camera movement look around like as if the pilot was looking around, and it looks amazing. All the meanwhile, it's stabilizing the footage perfectly, giving you a complete unique experience. It almost like gives you an idea of what it would be like to be in your little RC plane, which is what everyone dreams about. So that being said, I have to say that the 360 camera is definitely another unique tool to have in my quiver. I think that we will be using it a lot. I think you guys will be seeing a lot of really interesting 360 shots in the future on Flite Test. If you're a film guy or a video guy or just a tech-oriented guy, I think that a lot of you out there would get some enjoyment out of owning a 360 camera. I know I personally, beyond Flite Test, I've been using it a lot with my family. It's really cool just to take out and capture an entire moment in time or a video where you can see everything that was happening in that one time, and it's preserved. It's just a great way to preserve those memories. You can look around and you can go back to that moment in time and it's like you're there. It's really, really powerful thing. And so I'm gonna keep experimenting with this. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let us know if there's any other kind of cameras that you'd like to see us do on this tech channel. This tech channel is, again, different from our main channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. This is where you're gonna find all of our instructional, our educational, and our resource-based videos. So let us know if there's any other cameras that you'd like to see videos on, or just hobby products in general. And until the next one, guys, we'll see you later.